Hello, and welcome back to the Widow's Nest where a new life begins. I'm Lisa Cleveland, your widowhood lifestyle coach, and I'm so excited that you're back here for season 1, episode 7, where we talk and walk our way through this journey called widowhood. And I'm so excited about tonight's topic. It's on the healing heart. So, let's talk about it. Hello, widows and widowers around the world. I'm so excited that you joined me here again for episode 7 here in the Widow's Nest. And I'm so excited to share with you tonight about the healing heart. Oh my God, that's been one of the hardest things to move forward because though we've dealt with the past, with the loss and the pain and the understanding of death, and we've talked about the present, finding ourselves again and deciding how we want to show up in this next season of our life, becoming whole again, dealing with our health, our mental, and our spiritual side. There's still that tenderness in that heart. And sometimes the heart can keep people out, and sometimes it can block you in from receiving. So we need to make sure that we give a good estimate as to where we are with our hearts, because we don't want to be so tough till no one can reach us, or too free to everyone can hurt us either, because that's a tender part, and it's a fear that comes in starting all over again, moving out there in that world again. I know I had a fear of trusting again because I didn't want to get my heart broken. It was too tender. And maybe you're dealing with the same thing. You always wonder if someone else is going to love you the way you have been loved in the past. Are they going to respect you the way you felt respected in the past? Or if you didn't even have that type of relationship and they passed on and you never got that experience of that love and that affection and that protection. Maybe you're feeling inside that I don't even want to give it another shot. I tried, it didn't work. He's gone. I'm just going to take this next season and just love on me. I'm not going to allow myself to be open to anything. But we need to, whether we go forward in a relationship or we stay single, we still need to make sure that our heart is pure and that we're in the right place, because there's a passage of scripture in Proverbs 4:23 that says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. So it's very important that we get a heart checkup today and that we make sure that our heart's desires and our love and the things that we want are in right perspective, because to a great extent they will determine how you're gonna live. So we're gonna do a little bit of talking about that today, and we're gonna take that time to just deal with the fears that come in opening up ourselves again after we've dealt with such a great loss. And I would be amiss to say to you, oh, don't worry about it, just be all free, because that's not always the case. We're not living in a happy-go-lucky world right now, and unfortunately there are a lot of predators out here, and they prey on widows and widowers all around. They know that you're in a tender place. They know that your heart is broken and that you're feeling lonely and that you're feeling lost and maybe even a little scared and fearful, and they may try to take advantage of that space that you're in. That's why I always say to you, it's so important before you do anything, take time out to love on yourself, get your footing back again, and decide what you want and how you want it, in what amount of time you think that it's going to take for you to get those things. So when we're dealing with matters of the heart, being brokenhearted, you have to be so careful how you share, who you share with, where you go, how you conduct yourself, because when you're used to being covered, I know in my case, when you used to being covered, you assume everyone has that same heart and mindset that you have. But everyone does not. I learned that the hard way, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I've had a few predators come my way, and I had a few people who assumed because I was brokenhearted that I was gullible and vulnerable, and I have fell prey to that. And it's nothing. It's not your fault that we live in a world where people are like that, and those sorts of things happen. But I'm hoping that through what I share today will help you to be a little bit more careful of how you move forward and the timing in which you move forward, because it will affect your life. So, how are you feeling today? How is your heart? Are you still sad and lonely, or have you found ways to make yourself happy? Has your joy returned? Have you become a little bit more stable in your thoughts and what you want out of life, and how you plan on going about getting it? Because it's nice to have other people join in and want to help and share. But like I said, the responsibility is always left up to you. How you move forward and how your future turns out is going to be up to you. And guarding your heart is so important, because everyone doesn't deserve your heart. Everyone's not going to love your heart the way you do. They're not going to look at you the way you look at yourself. They're not going to see you. When you've been married for a certain period of time, you assume, we take a lot for granted. I think I shared that before. And because of how my husband loved me, I assumed all men love their women like that. You know, if they like you and they're interested in you and they're courting you. And maybe for the men, you say the same thing. You meet this nice woman, she seems very nice, she seems very genuine, and she seems to be so concerned about what you're going through, and she always wants to listen, and she always has an open heart and an open mind to what you're going through, and all this great wisdom and advice. And the whole time she may be just gathering information to know how to manipulate, or to position herself to be a need or a force in your life, and to take a place maybe she has not earned yet. And the same thing with men. You know, sometimes men can be predators, and they can sit there and tell you things that they know you need to hear, that they know you want to hear, because they listen well, and they listen so that they can know how to get that in. But how do you determine yourself when you're, for lack of a better word, being played, when you are being manipulated? You know, there comes a point where you have to take responsibility for things that you may have shared prematurely, or things that you didn't share that maybe you should have, so that that person doesn't get the wrong impression. Because sometimes we can pull on a person. I told you earlier in one of our shows about the push and pull, and sometimes we can pull people in, and then as we grow and we get stronger, and our heart gets stronger, and we start developing who we are, and we start understanding our needs and our value, we decide, you know what, I don't need this person anymore. I don't need that crutch anymore. I don't need to be reassured as much as I did when I first began this journey through widowhood. And now this person has looked at you as their future spouse or something like that, you know, or the one. And now you're like, no, you were the one at the time, because you were so kind to me and I really needed someone to talk to. But you know, I wasn't intentionally trying to lead you on in some kind of way. But I appreciate your help. You know, I appreciate your time, you know. But I'm still figuring this thing out for myself. And I'm not ready to move that fast yet. So we have to take our time as we move through this next season in our life, and we start moving toward the future and deciding what we want. That's why, as I shared before, it's so important for you to set your own goals, set your own rules for how you want to move forward in your life. Does that mean that it has to go play by play, and that we can't get those little surprises every now and then? maybe someone to come out of nowhere. You wasn't looking for love or looking to become attached to anyone else at this time in your life, but it kind of happened, and now you're like surprised. It caught you by surprise, and now you're like, am I really ready to do this? And though you may want it because your heart's been broken and you want it mended and you need that love and you need that attention, you know, you're going to still have moments even in that time that you're going to have reflections. You're going to reflect back on, the way things were and versus the way things are now. So having a person understand where you're going, what you're going through, maybe that's something you need to express to them right from the beginning. Look, I could be this way today, I could be another way tomorrow. I don't want you to think I'm just this wishy-washy person, but that's just where I'm at right now. I'm still finding myself. I'm still deciding. So don't hold me to too much of what I say right now, because as I'm growing and learning myself, I might find that those aren't necessarily the things that I really want anymore or even need anymore. So having an understanding person when you're going through this is so important. And like I said before, it may not even be that season for you right now, and you may decide that I don't want to even think about being in another relationship right now. I don't even want to have the responsibility of being concerned about someone else's feelings or having to compromise where I'm at in my life right now. I'm okay where I'm at right now. I can handle everything on my own right now. I'm not looking for a savior. I'm not looking for nobody to rescue me. I'm kind of in the do it on my own thing right now. I'm excited about being able to do it on my own. I'm excited about being independent again. I'm excited about the freedom that I now have to make choices and decisions that are based on my needs and my wants and how I see myself. And that's a healthy heart. There's nothing wrong with that. You might have people say to you, well, don't you think it's time for you to get in another relationship? Are you ready to date? Are you ready to see somebody else? And no, I'm not, Or you might have people try to tell you the total opposite. You don't need to be out here. You don't need to date anybody. You don't need to be thinking about another relationship. You're fine. You're in a good position. You don't need no man. Nobody can tell you if you need a woman or a man but you. You know your desires. You know your needs. And you know when you're ready. And you'll know that if you're not. But my thing is, look into your heart, and decide what is it that you want. And make sure that you're ready. Because the worst thing is disappointing someone, hurting someone that could have potentially been a great friend or a possible future husband or wife in your life because you met them at the wrong time. Make sure they share the same values you do, that they have the patience and the kindness, because we're all flattered in the beginning, right? It's always heaven in the beginning when you first meet somebody. It's the joy, the newness, the new conversation, the new stories that you share. But after all the newness wears off, the oldness is still resting there as that foundation. And so when you start digging into that foundation, things come up, things get said. And they're not always as sensitive to your past and your pain as you may be. You might not even know some things that don't even come up until that nerve, they hit that nerve. It's like you're talking and then a memory pops up and they have a different reaction to your comment or to your stance on a certain situation. And you start judging and you start saying, well, my husband always got that, or my wife always understood that. I don't understand why this person doesn't get it. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me feeling the way that I feel? Why can't they just accept me for who I am? But that's fine if that's truly who you are. But the goal is understanding who you are and what you want, so that you're introducing the person to who you really are. Don't close your heart out, and don't stop your heart from healing or growing by staying stuck in a certain mindset or a certain, thought pattern that it has to be this way or it has to be that way. You know, stay open, stay open to love, stay open to life, stay open to opportunities, keep growing yourself. It's okay that you don't know everything, because coming back into this world after being protected and shielded from so many things for so many years, and then finding yourself in this new place where you have to meet new people and share different things. It's not always an easy job. It seems exciting in the beginning, because it's like, oh, I get to date, I get to meet new people, I need to go to new places. But people have really changed. It's not going to be the same, so know who you are. Get yourself together. Take that time that you need to work on you, and guard your heart. Guard your heart above all else, because you can become very bitter. And I've seen people who have lost their loved ones, and they just become so cynical. They just judge everything. They can't trust. Trust is something, like I said, that's earned. You might not trust a person in every area of their life, but trust is given once a person has been proven truthful in a certain area. So we have to allow ourselves to be open for people and give them opportunities for them to show us who they are, so that we can protect and guard our hearts and we don't end up in one heartbreak after the next. Be careful how you share, because we have so much to talk about. We want to share so much because it was a beautiful life. It was a wonderful memories. And for some, maybe it wasn't beautiful memories and it wasn't a beautiful life. And you want to talk about that too. And I remember even before death and losing my husband, when I used to share with women, I used to say, don't share so much of what your husband did right or what your husband did wrong. I said, because you're teaching a person how to treat you. You're teaching them what you will put up with and what you won't put up with. And those things could change on either side. You may have dealt with your spouse that way, but that doesn't mean you're going to deal with another person. You might have put up with it because of all the other great things, that attributes that he had or she had that came into the relationship, but that don't mean you want to just deal with that in every relationship that you go through. So be careful how you share and how you open your heart up to people, because you're not that person that you were then, and you're moving forward, you're growing, you're becoming a new person, and you want them to know the person that you are becoming now. And you don't want to give people too much information too soon, and they just play right into it, and then later on you find out that they were not the person that they presented themselves to be. So I would just encourage you, as widows, being tenderhearted, to take your time, be careful, but don't be fearful, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and power and a sound mind. Make sure you have sound mind. Make sure you have the power to say yes and no to what you want to say yes and no to. And make sure that you have love in your heart and a good outlook on life and the things that you want to do, because you will have things come into your life because of it, and you'll have things move away from you because of it. And if you're too stern, and if you're too scared, and if you're too guarded, then you could be blocking things out that you might need to let in, or that may have been good for you, because you just cannot trust to someone that close to you, and someone can't let anyone into your heart because you're still healing and you're still going through. So hopefully some of the things that I'm saying to you will help you to reevaluate maybe some of the things that have come into your life, or that you've blocked out of your life due to fear or confusion, or just not wanting to take a chance. Sometimes we just not willing to take a chance on ourselves or on anyone else, because sometimes we have those feelings that we failed ourselves, or we failed our spouses in some kind of way, and we don't feel deserving of new love or deserving of new opportunities in life, because we keep thinking, well, I didn't do it right then, I probably just mess up again, and I can't afford to lose another person. And then also, we have that fear that if I open up my heart and I love this person and I give myself to this person and they leave me or they pass away, I don't think I could deal with another loss so great like that. To have someone that close that I depend on that much, and risk losing that person. So we have to really heal and continue to work on ourselves so that we gain that strength, because as we've realized through our own struggle and through what we've gone through the loss of our spouse, that death is untimely. There's no guarantee. One thing we do know is that we're all going to leave here one day. We don't know when, but we know that we're all going to live here one day. And having love for 2 years is better than not having love at all. Having love for 6 months is better than not having any love at all in your life, because you don't know if you're ever going to get that chance again. So if someone loves you and you love someone, trust God, trust yourself, and let love do what love does, because you could leave that person, and I'm sure you wouldn't want them to feel like they should never love again or never live life again because you were called home to glory. So we have to be respectful of the time that we have here on this earth and the relationships that we get to develop while we're here on this earth, because we get to do a lot of great things, and we should be excited about that. The opportunity to live, to learn, to love, to know people, to build strong, beautiful relationships. So I encourage you to keep your heart open, keep your mind open. Take time to heal and evaluate how you're feeling. Ask yourself, what truly are your desires? What do you want for your future? How does that look? It does the possibility of even being in love again or being in a relationship, is that something that you even want to explore? And if not, how do you want to still keep your heart open and enjoy life in this season? Because like I shared and I said plenty of times, life does not begin or end with a man or a woman. If you're a widower watching, it begins with you loving yourself, knowing who you are, understanding your purpose, and living on purpose, and taking those time to take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically. Getting the education that you need, understanding how this world works right now, and how you fit into the big picture of it all. And that in and of itself takes a lot of heart, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of energy. And you deserve to give all of that to yourself. Like I shared with you before, we have to learn to love on ourselves if we're going to learn to love on other people again. And if we're not going to walk in fear, or if we're not going to guard ourselves and block out love, but we're going to guard ourselves from pain, predators, and manipulation. We don't want to just get out of here and be gullible all over the place, right? But at the same time, we don't want to be suspicious of everyone and suspect everyone and condemn everyone, because they're not our loved ones. They're not our husbands or our wives. They're who they are, and you are now another person. You are who you are. So embrace who you are and learn to embrace others, but do it in a responsible way so that you're not taken advantage of. Because I've had people approach me asking me for money, assuming that because my husband passed away that he left me in this big financial place. And they look at widowers and widows as as predator, as a prey. So, I know people who just seek out widows and widowers, and these are things I learned after becoming a widow. I didn't know it was a big thing, but obviously it's a big thing. So, we do have to be careful. If you've been blessed to have been left an inheritance or something in the will or some type of financial blessing from your spouse when he passed away, make sure that you use it wisely. Remember, he paid his life for that, and he loved you, and he left you that, or she loved you, and she left you that. So be careful that you don't give away something that cost someone else their life, okay? And make sure that whoever you're dealing with are genuine people who love you just for you, who respect you for who you are now, who want to walk along this journey with you, whether it's a friend, companion, or a potential spouse. Make sure that you take your time and get to know them, because as much as you want to deal with the loneliness and the pain of being alone and being separated and being by yourself, you can't let that drive you. You have to guard your heart, because everyone doesn't have good intentions, okay? And we have plenty of people who will lie to you to get what they want, to get in there and take advantage of your vulnerability during that time of weakness, during that time of loss. So even in the fact that you want to heal, you want to move fast, you want to, get over the past because you're ready to get on with life. And I'm all for forward moving, as you all know. But I'm also responsible. And I say be responsible. Take your time. Love on you. If that person is really supposed to be there for you, they'll wait. We don't come a dime a dozen, okay? So if that person really loves you and really sees the beauty in you and says, this is a person I could see myself with, they'll give you the time to heal. They'll be patient with you while you go through this. But don't abuse it. Don't just assume that you deserve all of this. And so I'm just going to torture this person and throw all my burdens on this person and constantly make them feel like I'm never going to be healed again. I'm never going to be happy again, and make it impossible for people to love you. And that can be family, friends. That could be, anybody. It doesn't always have to be a love interest or anything. Sometimes we drive people away when we just seem like we can never be happy. Nothing they do makes us happy. We're just so sad. We're just so down. We were treated so bad. The worst thing in the world happened to us. My husband died. My wife died now. Nobody is perfect. Nobody can ever be right. Nobody gets it. Nobody understands. And pretty soon people stop trying. Believe it or not, you can wear folks out with your grief. Okay? You really can. And then you'll be blaming everybody for just abandoning you when you put yourself in that box. So we don't want to put ourselves in a box. We don't want to pop out like Jack in a box either and just be all over the place, right? But we want to be responsible and deliberate on how we move forward in our lives while our hearts are healing and we're loving on ourselves and we're growing. So hopefully this will encourage you to start looking in your heart and mending and healing and just really evaluating where you want to go as you move forward. So I thank you for spending this time with me again in the Widow's Nest, and comment. You can go to my Facebook page, The Widow's Nest, or you can even watch me on YouTube. Just look up The Widow's Nest, and you can comment and share your thoughts of how you're dealing with healing your heart, and how you what if any episodes have you gone through with trying to open up your heart to people again, to love again. How are you moving forward with that? How are you dealing with that? I like to hear your story. So share with me if you will. I've been sharing with you all my little stories. So hopefully I'll hear from some of you. But like I said, you can go to thewidowsnest.com, which is my website, or you can go to The Widow's Nest on Facebook, You can go to watch on YouTube. I'm still working on all of these sites. I'm just learning how to do all of this stuff and trying to put this stuff out there so that we could grow together and move forward together. So share with me. I would really love to hear what you have to say. So you have a good night. God bless you. Bye.